There you go, folks. President Trump throwing down, absolutely throwing down this morning at the Museum of the Bible. He talked about the ideology, the sick ideology, the indoctrination. We call it communism, Marxism. They're sick in the head and they can't be reasoned with. That's what he said. Sometimes when you have horrible killings, you have to take horrible actions. And he talked about the shootings. He used the word demonic about Minneapolis, and he talked about the anti-Christian bias prevalent in America that goes almost completely unheard of. And I'm glad that my president walked up that mic and talked about it. John Yep, the founder of Catholics for Catholics, joins us now. He was also in the room, seated a little behind me, but I guess he's on the other side. We didn't connect there, so we're connecting here. And John, hearing the President of the United States speak about the demonic in such uncertain terms, I mean, what a sea change it's been from 1 year ago to now.
Absolutely, it has. Trump even said it himself. What a difference between last year and this year. And we're seeing it just, one to this morning was an example of that. Here you have the most powerful person in the world, President of the United States, taking time out of his day to go to the Museum of the Bible. No, not the Museum of the Quran, Museum of the Bible. That in itself is significant too. And just to go there and to have this panel looking specifically at where is the anti-Christian bias that we have seen on a pattern over these past years, specifically in our schools. So to have those representatives there and to hear Trump take questions like that, it was very important for America to watch what was said during that hearing.
Well, and I think, too, as well, talking about, and of course, J.D. Vance, the vice president, and his wife flew up to that school, Annunciation Catholic School, up there in Minneapolis after experiencing what they experienced. But, to hear the president get into these theological terms, post the image of Our Lady on her birthday, today is the Nativity of Our Lady, and really going up and saying that, and he's done this for a long. I had Dr. Taylor Marshall on the other day, and the very first time President Trump ever tweeted out one of our interviews, it was me and Dr. Taylor Marshall talking about the war on Christianity. That was 5 years ago, and here we are today talking about the exact same thing in action. And it seems to me, and John, you were instrumental in your group in putting up those billboards about St. Michael the Archangel, one of which went up right outside the fairgrounds there in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Talk to me about the importance of Butler in President Trump's, I'm just going to say it, it feels like he's been anointed.
There is a special anointing that has seemed to have gone on, right? Catholics for Catholics, we were very involved in the last election, getting President Trump elected, chasing out ballots, doing the hard work. And it's only fitting now that we want to join President Trump, or one of the official organizations joining the White House in this campaign of prayer that he has. Now, why would President Trump want to do a campaign of prayer? Because I think you're right, Jack. When he went down on the floor of Butler in that incredible book that you wrote, he came up a different person, right? God anointed him in a special way, and I think he's very cognizant that his time is short. Even look at his comments about Ukraine. Wasn't that so interesting when he was saying the other day, look, I want to stop the war. But why did he say that? He said, look, because he said it in reference to heaven, okay? I mean, would that every world leader would make their decisions based off the fact that, yeah, you're going to die one day, and either you're going to end up in heaven or in hell. So I think, Trump has this very much present in his mind, and it's great to see it. But we have to keep supporting him because it is a spiritual warfare, as we saw in Minnesota last week.
No, it's funny because Politico this morning was talking about Trump's religion, and has Trump found religion? And they said most of the time he only talks about religion in terms of architecture and artwork, and of course it's the most beautiful in the world because it was designed by angels. But I texted them and I said, he just said he wants to get into heaven. I texted someone I know who works at Politico. I said, don't leave that out. You can't leave that out because something has changed since Butler in him, where I think he's always had respect for religion. I think he's always had a level of reverence for religion, but something happened. And that's, John, and you and I talked about this offline, but when I wrote that book of Bulletproof and it came time to choose the cover, why did I choose the cover? Not with the fist up, but where he's down, where President Trump is down and his hands are clasped in front of him, and it almost seems as though he's in prayer. And you see that light streaming through sort of the hole, and you can actually that's actually the shoe of the Secret Service agent cutting across. And there's that video of the president talking about the book, and he's holding it up. But he actually asked me why I chose that for the cover, and instead of the other picture. And I said because Mr. President, this is the moment that allowed the next moment. This was the moment that the message was sent.
That's right. And Jack, I'm glad you brought up the whole beauty. Yes, Trump has a special knack for seeing beauty in architecture or whatever. And let's not knock that, because, the scholastics actually had a term for that. When a soul would find God through beauty, they called it the via pulchritudinis, the way of beauty. So that, by all means, beauty does speak to Trump. And, I think that has led in a powerful way to him searching out for God and realize that there's deeper meaning in life.
That's exactly right, John. We got to run. Tell people, I know you're literally on your way back to the airport, getting back to the fam. Where can people go to follow you and see everything that Catholics for Catholics is up to?
Yeah, I appreciate the Uber hit, Jack, and the car bouncing. But you can go follow us at CforC.com. Just Google Catholics for Catholics. Also, continuing on the White House's idea for prayer, we will be doing a Catholic prayer for America in Washington, D.C. next March. So follow us there, and we hope to see you there.
I'll be there, John. I will be there. Make America pray again. Jack